Kevin O'Leary here. Everyone knows I love making money. You're talking to Mr. Wonderful here.
Over 2 million.
Ichihuahua, caramba.
And because all litigants have signed a contract agreeing
This is nuts.
examine all evidence and deliver true financial justice. Tonight.
$250,000 just to make a prototype?
That's not true.
You don't understand. Listen.
We don't know what we're talking about.
First up, Elias versus Elias, a married couple at odds over the future. A brick-and-mortar spa for pets. Stuck, they're empowering Kevin to decide, do they go
and put them in 3 key cities across the U.S. And we basically want to go national.
National is not the way to go.
All right, a classic strategy disagreement.
$240.
Woof, woof, woof. That's incredible. The dog, is that a better experience for the dog than if I take it to Groomomatic somewhere?
size of the dog.
Emily, you
So
sold me.
with us-
I totally get it. Let's talk about pricing. So you meet the dog. You meet the dog.
On Long Island.
When you say that, does anybody have more than 9 trucks?
No.
Not even close.
So
Which is extremely lucrative of a business. Trainers on average make
brick and mortar to me, you're married to it, you're sentenced to it. There's no flexibility. There's nothing like.
position in a big box corporate pet place. I was doing very well there, but
Or how do you decide what your customers want and what the proper price point is?
In this industry, it's probably the only business.
What about modifying with all the doggy doo-doo stuff?
It comes exactly modified. There's only one. And every day I wake up and there's 30 new clients that want our service. And for every 2 you lose, there's 15 more coming in.
like we do here on Long Island, and I feel like that is why we're so successful.
So you think that
Well, you don't need 10 trucks to start. It's like anything else. You can The entire operation.
And you're on one of the trucks, Emily, all day?
I deal with all the training. I
If all of a sudden you've got the same challenges that you have in your local market,
for the place that we would rent.
so do you actually have a business plan for the Do you actually have a business plan for the doggy daycare or spa, whatever you're going to call it?
I already have it completely envisioned in my
In terms of how that builds out.
Yeah, but something that I have that no one else has is I have this.
Growth, which has its own risks because it ties up a lot of capital when you try and expand too quickly, and that's what she's worried about.
Is that. And Emily really realizes how valuable that is and how she can tap into that client base for all.
United States of America, not just on Long Island.
You know, he's proven.
All right, Chris and Emily. Now, the discipline I bring to this is focusing on you. Of the idea of adding the service where I can park my dog, but I want to see a business plan.
Chris heard it from a billionaire's point of view, maybe he'll kind of understand.
And listen, I've done the research.
You're not listening to your girlfriend, you're not listening to Katie, and you're not listening to me.
Fitness studio in New York with 2 locations. As the popularity of this niche industry has grown, in a relationship. Now, Kevin will determine once and for all how their $150,000
and where to go purchase one. And we're always sending the money away.
Pole business, Ashley?
I found a passion for pole as a hobby.
Klein, she's been on Nightline, done music videos.
Is that you?
$11, it opened in Midtown Manhattan across the street from Madison Square Garden. We started with one. Contract that built us a hidden shower, like it was like behind the lockers. So whenever we wanted to take the shower,
Do in dollars.
the second location does about $50,000 a year.
So once
pole fitness pole made. I'm looking to engineer poles that are
manufacturing. We would have to send that prototype out to factory in China, whose cost
isn't rolling out new studios, the timeline, how much you're going to spend for each studio, how many you're going to get done?
generally
Gyms in most cities were very successful once they established a clientele base. Obviously, the same thing in pole. Classes online? You do.
What do you charge for those?
we charge 20 home and take our classes online.
Listen. What you have here
happen with a pole. You don't understand. Listen, I've done the research. With the pole comes a lot of
pole because it's got her name on it. It's the same pole, but it's not an Ashley Fox pole.
you saying that she's a brand, and you got to understand she's a brand as a studio as well. When
You are not just business partners. The two of you are in a 10-year relationship.
right, one
And
thing
if you
I-
You're talking right over us and talking to Kevin because we don't know what we're talking about, right?
Okay, before I render a verdict, I'm going to send you to the breakout room. When I come back, but also without him, there's no business either because she's more of an artist brand.
It's the quintessential.
At the end of the day, we got one play or two plays that we can make, and I want it to be a calculated.
A lot of money.
$600,000 a year.
And that's because she's there. You start
Right.
opening studios all over the country.
To have somebody there to adjust me, to tell me what to do, that's what his point is.
All right, I've made my decision. Let's bring. Training that she's already laid down in the cloud. She doesn't have to be there in person anymore. My verdict here is a and the brand. And you're going to use already existing manufacturing facilities to do it. And Virgil's going to make it happen. That's my I received an email from Jeff Messinger, who has a dispute with a well-known hotel chain. Millions of people in your situation. So what did you do next?
So we waited weeks and weeks and weeks. Eventually,
reason to go back to Bloomington.
That federal aid program didn't go anywhere near as far as people thought it would for All right, I contacted corporate and I found out something that's not good news. The original so powerful, and we're talking today, maybe something can happen. So you have two options here. You either cash in the
Rossi in 2 years.
I love you very, very, very much.
You haven't made any effort to fix this.
rod. She expected the money back in a few weeks. Now, 2 years later, she sees
I loaned my brother $2,500 over 2 years ago for an invention that he had called the tap.
I want us to have our relationship like it was before.
All right, what we have here is a class.
Fishing lures. I just actually got tired of doing that. I was like, well, what can I invent that out here, as you see, tightening, and you go. My in-laws and 25 from somebody else, and the only person I could think of was my sister.
short-term loan. It was to make an infomercial. Let's have a look at the infomercial that you invested in.
What would
That was a young Kevin Harrington there. That's who that is. Let's go fast.
$bucks to make, and we retail them at $129.99. And the spinner rod cost me $10. Of the money back then. I was going to do that, but I had no idea that I was going to end up having to.
Were you ever told, Monica, that you were going to get to the back of the line behind Rossi's in?
And this is well after, and I say, you know what, yeah, pay me back in payments. Here's my account number, and every.
So don't even go there, or I would have paid you something.
Okay, so he owes you $2,400.
Are looking at the monitor right now, and I am looking at a Rossi Fouché, and he is living the high life.
She should want me getting paid back just as much as Rossi.
Now, the two of you are brother
For holidays, I say, no, I'm not going. He still owes me.
I love you very, very, very much. You're my only.
Before I render a verdict, we're going to send you to the breakout room. When we come back, I'll give you my decision.
Making sense. It's the principle of the fact that he won't even acknowledge that.
To see a family torn apart for $2,400, but you got to pay your sister back. So here's how you're going to do it. You're going to start. Monica, that he can't pay you back the $2,400 in one lump sum, but you're going to have to deal with the $100. And somehow,
I love my sister very much. I mean, she's my only sister out of all 10 of us. There's 9